Welcome to the Wanghiro podcast, where we answer Malaysians' burning questions about personal finance with fact-based answers.
If you only had an income of 1.6 thousand Malaysian ringgit, should you buy a new car, or is it better for you to pay for a used car in cash? This is the dilemma of one Reddit user in Malaysia. The thread reads, new or used car? Hello guys, sorry for my bad English. I'm 25 male working at a factory as operator. My net income is 1.6k a month. I'm not in debt or commitment or married yet. I have around 10k of savings. So I want to buy my first car. I'm thinking of buying brand new Saga AT and with monthly of ringgit 400 plus, but this new commitment looks kind of a lot since it have additional expenses such as fuel, road tax, maintenance, and etc. It's not 400 plus anymore, right? And I'm not that rich to afford. And because of that, I'm thinking to buy used car like Saga BRM, like from 2010 for RM 5k to 8k cash. But I'm afraid I'm going to spend more on repairing the car. What do you guys think? Which is more worth it for the long run? Right, John, so after hearing this, what do you have to say to this Reddit user? What are the things that they should consider?
Okay, first and foremost, I think there are a few questions, right? One, what's the car for? If you're a factory operator and you work in shifts, which I have been, I used to work in a factory 12-hour shifts. Your car is just to get you from point A to point B, and then it sits under the sun or under the rain for 12 hours. So if it's just a daily driver, and you have other alternatives, and do the math, whether it makes sense to even get a car, okay? But if you're saying that, I needed to ferry my parents to the hospital on the weekends, or my sister can use it, part-time, whatever lah, right? Or there's no public transport from where I stay to where I work, maybe in a factory area, which unlikely to have LRT, then yeah, then I would say, okay, go ahead, get the car, right? Second thing is, what other ancillary costs? I think it's great that the Redditor has pointed out, road tax, maintenance, all that kind of thing. So here is the next one that I want to put in, which is when you buy a new car and you are a first-time driver, never bought a car before, the problem is you're paying full insurance on a brand new car, which depreciates every year. I want you to think, you buy, let's just say, a Honda City, 80,000 ringgit. I mean, I've done this so often, right? It's roughly about 3,000 to 4,000 ringgit of insurance. Okay, but if you get and actually, I've personally an old car. I used to drive a 26-year-old Toyota GL when I was in uni. I was very lucky. My dad had it's a fifth-hand car. Fifth hand. Okay, and he bought a new car because he was about to retire, so he got a bit of money from gratuity. He bought a new car, which was a Proton Iswara, by the way. I got this hand-me-down, fifth hand, and I was maintaining this car as a 26-year-old car, a very, very like Toyota, right? So what happened was when my dad sold that car, after I finished uni and we sold the car, we had this thing called a no claims discount that you can transfer to your new car. Now, what does no claims discount mean? If you don't get any accident within 5 years of having that insurance, first party, cannot be third party, first party insurance, you pay 55% discount of your new insurance. So I give you an example, okay? Let's just say you bought a Myvi, 10,000, right? You drive 5 years, first party insurance, no accident, no claims, okay? Then you buy a brand new Honda City and the insurance is 3,000. Instead of paying 3,000 because of the NCD transfer, you only pay 1,004.
Oh, that's huge.
That's substantial, right? But if you go and buy brand new car, let's say the Proton Saga 80, right? 40,000, 30,000 ringgit. 30,000, you probably pay about, I think, 2,000 in insurance, 1,000 something, 2,000. But if you get an NCD, then half of it, slightly more than half. So that's the third thing. Fourth thing is this, and this is the biggest one that most people don't calculate. Opportunity cost. So what do I mean by opportunity cost? He's not married. He's 25. He hasn't. I'm guessing he doesn't have a mortgage as well. Okay. What if he found the love of his life 2-3 years down the road? Now you're stuck paying a car loan. Okay, 400 plus another, if you add in probably 100 to 200 ringgit every month, you aggregate for fuel, maintenance, all that kind of thing, right? Then virtually like half your salary is gone for a car. It means there's opportunity deficit for you to save, for you to take on a new job, experiment. Like let's say, okay, can I quit, no income, 2-3 months, find a new job, upgrade myself, things like that. No money to pay for courses to upgrade his skills to get paid more. Okay. Those are the things that I feel are even more expensive than this NCD lah, petrol lah, whatever. That opportunity cost, because it's so intangible, Louis, a lot of people don't look at it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at that time when we graduated, like I shared just before our call, when I graduated and my friend took her first job, a very good friend of mine, she was recommended to buy this really expensive car where you know, I think our salary at the time, her salary is about 2K something, 2.5K. And then she was asked to buy this car which cost like 1.6K a month in service alone. And she was telling me, you know, Louis, actually after like minus the EPF, minus whatsoever, minus car, I'm only left with 300 ringgit. And then to think I have to continue paying this for at least 8 years.
Yeah.
Well, then she had,
it's insane.
like on top of the opportunity cost, she had to take on additional jobs, like side, just to pay for that car. I was just telling her, why should you get that car if you only earn this much? She's like, oh, because someone told me it would look more professional, you know. It's better to buy this car. Yeah, imagine. So, you know, at that stage in your life when you're young, a lot of people will tell you, oh, this would be good for you in some way. But for me, it's like, it's financially like a burden.
Yeah. Actually, I've known parents who, thank God, it's not so much of a car. They'll get a huge house for their kids. They pay the down payment, whatever.
Yes.
And then they said, okay, it's your turn to start paying installments now. And then they said, no, it's good for you. It's an asset. Yeah. Right, but I can tell you, it takes up like 3/4 of their salary. Okay, and the opportunity. Okay, yes, eventually it will become an asset. I mean, not today in today's prices, but even if it becomes an asset, you know how much opportunity cost that derives from a lot of these young people. The parents actually mean well. I completely understand, right? They mean well. They want their kids to do better. They've been afraid because they probably bought and they see the escalating prices of property, but for a car, I know. I mean, we've done some Reddit episodes, Louis. I don't even remember. The father want to pay cash, but get them to buy a car so that they can stay at home rather than have a rented room. And then, right? So I'm like, oh my God. So it's like, but again, opportunity cost.
Yeah. So and you mentioned about the paying with cash, right? So I always thought that, you know, if you wanted to buy a second-hand car, you cannot take a loan out for that.
No, not necessarily. You can take a loan. It's just that the interest rate for used cars will be slightly higher. But for me, if you are buying a car at that kind of price, for me the difference in interest is negligible, because the interest you pay, if you're getting on a 20,000, 30,000 ringgit car and you're getting a 10K, 20K kind of loan, I think the interest is negligible compared to the opportunity cost that you can use the cash to do something else with, you see.
But here, I mean, in this case, it's like 5 to 8K is his budget. Because he's capped at 10K, which is his savings. So 5 to 8K, would they give out a loan for that kind of range though?
No. I can. They still can get actually loan. Because
but I mean like higher purchase loan though.
Oh, you'll be surprised. There's actually
really?
what we call non-financial institutions that can actually give you this kind of loan. There's one in Sarawak. I don't know whether it belongs to RHB now or not. It's called Delta Finance. Have you heard of them?
Never.
So in Miri, it's quite big. It's in Bintulu. It's a financing house that usually they do car financing. Specifically car. Yeah. So even Aeon Credit is not a bank, but they actually provide financing for motorcycles. And it's quite predatory, kind of rates. It's 15 to 18%.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider that, right, is it still worth it to take the loan?
No, but I'm not asking. You see, if you are getting a car that is not the 5 to 8,000, you get a car that's probably like, okay. So I'll take a step back first. He's saying that he's asking whether between a brand new car or second-hand car. For me, if it is a daily driver, the key thing that he needs to look for is things like reliability doesn't spoil. Because if not, then it will add up costs. But at the same time, when he said used car, he used to the other extreme. He said, should he buy a 5 to 8K? Which I strongly disagree. Why? At that point of time, 2010 and a Proton saga, Proton parts are actually quite expensive, ironically. Okay.
Yes.
So what I would advise this person to do, I don't want to shortchange him of the learning. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I would love Produa cars. Not because I have shares or whatever. No, it's because if you understand what Produa cars are made of, they're actually a Toyota car that's just rebadged. I give you a hint. The Toyota Avanza?
Yeah.
The engine is the same as a Vios. The same engine is the same as your Myvi. Your Myvi 1.5, the engine block is exactly the same as your Vios 1.5. Exactly.
Wow.
Okay. If you go to the plant in Malacca, is it in Malacca or Shala? I can't remember. My friend used to work there. Okay. 4 Myvis, 1 Avanza, same production line. So when they're producing, there's 4 Myvis will come out and then 1 Avanza. And then 4 Myvis, 1 Avanza, because they have to make the line efficient, mah. So for me, why a Toyota, why a Japanese brand is because first, it's very reliable. Second, the parts are so ubiquitous. You don't believe me? You go and ask the mechanic. This is where I think the Redditor, just go to a Lim Tire. If I'm guessing if it's Semenanjung, go to a Lim Tire. Go for a franchise mechanic. Just have a conversation with them. Hey, which car parts are expensive? Which car parts are cheap? I can tell you, my mechanic, I drive a Mazda CX-5. He's telling me my car parts are cheaper than a Proton X50 or X70, which is a cheaper car than mine, but more luxurious. Okay? Headlights lah, whatever. Why? Because the suppliers are all from China. You have to get the parts from China. Whereas if you get like a Myvi, like a Proton, like a Toyota, all these parts are already within the ecosystem within Malaysia, you see. So it's very cheap. So next thing, please take a loan to buy the car. Why? You want that 10K in savings. I don't want you to splurge everything onto that savings, You take a loan, it's 10% down, ma. So if you buy a $25,000 car, it's 2,500 only, and then the rest you can take a loan, and it's not going to be predatory rates. You can go, I'm very sure of Maybank, whatever, if this guy has good credit score, he can probably get a loan for about 4%. 3 to 4%. Yeah.
Okay, so I think like if you can get a reasonable loan rate, you should get it lah.
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think when you touch about the maintenance, right, I think this is a huge one because this is something that the Redditor also highlights, which is like the repair cost. So it seems to me like it matters what car instead.
Definitely.
That's the key, right?
Yes. Definitely. So if you you go and buy a BMW or Mercedes, then I say gong hei fat choy already lor. You kena one accident, headlight, change one headlight 3,000. Oil filter change 1,000. You see? So again, right, for me, they don't call Myvi king on the road for nothing, I don't know if you've seen YouTube videos where Myvis actually go into a flooded road all the way until the bonnet and still come out alive. You should really go and it's so funny, Louis. I think you just type Myvi king on the road, and then there's actually reaction videos by Caucasian content creators. They said, "Bloody hell, what car is this?"
Yeah. So what if like so you had the experience of actually like driving the Iswara, right? How about like if you did have that kind of car, maybe like you actually still cannot. It's cheaper, right? At the end of the day, the Proton would be cheaper.
Yeah.
But like you couldn't actually flash out more than that.
Yeah.
Is it somehow still manageable in terms of maintenance?
Oh yeah, very. But you have to remember why I picked out the Proton X50 is because there was a time of change where Proton was taken over by Geely, and what they didn't do, and this is industry insider knowledge, right? The Geely guys did not build the local ecosystem here. They did not reach out. They wanted to keep the business within the Chinese suppliers that they have been used to in China. And because of that, a lot of the parts are imported parts from China. Whereas the Proton of the past, and this is where I think Proton got it right. I mean, yes, it made a lot of cronies rich, but it developed an ecosystem locally. And when you have a local ecosystem, that's where other people will build what we call OEM parts. They're not original Proton, but there's original equipment manufacturer, same spec, whatever, slightly lower quality. But when you have alternatives, right, Louis, that's where pricing power is not there. It becomes a little bit more commoditized. A lot of other, like, okay, I know I'm going to go into car geek territory already, but you know Mercedes, right? They actually have a brake supplier called Brembo. So instead of buying from Mercedes itself, you can actually buy, third-party alternative parts to the car, and that makes it cheaper. You see, so I mean, like the type exactly what I wanted to say, and you brought it highlighted again. The type of car makes a huge difference. You buy a Continental car, yeah, it's maybe cheap. You can go out buy a BMW for 15K, but that one maintenance is going to kill you.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So if this Redditor needs simple door-to-door, get a Myvi. I mean, like I did a quick search this morning. You can get a 2009 Myvi for about 12K. Okay. You can get a 2013 Myvi, which is about 10 years old, 11 years old, for 21K. Full certificate, monthly installment 272 a month. I repeat, which is lower than what he expected, 400 something. So if you add in, you add in all your road tax, you add in all your insurance, whatever, it's definitely going to be less than 400 lah. Okay. Yeah. So
and I mean, in terms of the amount that he should be like dedicating to the car, do you think that 200 is most reasonable? What would be better?
Yeah. Technically, okay, good, fine. You see, that's where, when financial planners dish out all these rules, right? For me, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, lah. Because by right, it should say 10% of your monthly income. 10%, 160 ringgit. What are you gonna get? What kind of car are you gonna get again? You see, so it's a question mark. You see, so for me, I'm like, his primary role today, because he has a stable job, he has to try to upgrade himself, and that's why the opportunity cost of not getting a loan. You see, once you not paying in cash, because once you get a loan, it frees yourself up a little bit of money, upgrade your skills, get better income, find a side gig, whatever, so that the Myvi is not going to be your first and last car. It's a transition car. Am I making sense?
Would there be still like a cap though? Like I think 200 sounds.
Yeah, 200 sounds. I think nothing
reasonable.
more than 40% of your income lah. If it's more than 40% of your income, so it's like, let's say 1,006. I'm guessing it's a net amount lah.
Yeah.
So 1,006 net, quarter of your income, it should be 250. Am I correct? Wait, 1,600. No, 400.
So 400 would be the maximum, but we don't want to touch that lah.
Try not to get there lah.
Like 400, would you say would be everything rather than just the service?
Yeah, everything.
The petrol, the whatever extra maintenance, and having some on the side. Okay, so I think final question before we close this is, if we consider like, okay, savings of 10K, should you always like want to shoot below that number, or you want to base it off like your monthly salary?
Saving should roughly be between 3 to 6 months of your expenses rather than salary. So if you spend much less than whatever you earn, then fantastic. But if you want a rule of thumb, it's actually based it on your expenses rather than, because some guy may earn 30K, but his expenses 40K a month. Every month swipe credit card, I've seen many people do it, trust me. Yeah, right. So, but then you save 6 months both based on your salary, you're 10K short every month, That means if you save 6 months, you're actually 4 months rather than 6 months, Yeah.
So, okay, so I think if he wants to write, I think because this Redditor, right, I think he's basing off his affordability based on that 10K, and he just wants to see, I want to put this like 5-10K, but I'm scared if like, like some of this money will go into like the repairs, everything will be gone. Yeah.
I don't think that should be a right way. I think the better way is, now that he already knows that his active income will bring in 1.6, 400 is a quarter, don't exceed that. And at the same time, don't go into that 5 or 6K kind of cash or whatever. Because I think for him, why he went into that 5-6K is because he is capped by the 10K amount that he has, right? So for me, that's why don't pay in cash. Put in a down payment of 10%. Yes, you have to pay interest on the loan, but I can tell you that 8K that you have or 7.5K that you have is going to be very, very handy for you to plan for other things. Again, opportunity cost. You know, who knows? One day, advanced technician course came out, but you have to fork out your own money, 2,000. But you already paid everything in cash for your car. So you see, now that interest that you pay, let's say, okay, you can do the interest, you count 3%, 4% multiplied by, let's say you take a 5-year loan on a 10, let's say, okay, 10K. 10K, 4% 1 year is 400, right? 400 multiplied by 5. 400 multiplied by 5 is 2,000. That is the total amount of interest that you're going to pay on a 10K loan. Okay? All right. So 2,000 ringgit, but you save 8K, you know, you a 7.5K you have that you can liquidate anytime, you know.
Yeah. So in a way, you should still have that like cushion, like after you buy the car, right? So
right.
I think the ideal scenario, as you described, is like to have a loan for the car and buy a used car, and then pay not more than 400 for the car total.
Precisely.
Okay, so I think that should give some guidelines to this Redditor, or if our audience members are in similar situations. Before we wrap up, any last words of advice for those buying car?
You want to have flashy cars, can find. I just had this conversation with one of my mentees yesterday.
Okay.
She wants a car so that she could, rather than using her husband's car, she wants to upgrade her car because she wants to drive back to Kuantan, her hometown, with her 2 daughters. Okay. I said, no problem. You want to drive your BMW also? No problem. She has an XCR right now, right? I said, but don't upgrade alang lah. Find ways to make more income because she's a full-time mom doing side gigs, teaching and all that. Find a full-time job. Find a full-time gig. They can pay you more. When you want to drive that BMW, but it's paid by passive income, go ahead, enjoy it, right? But when you are relying on active income to support that kind of flashy car,
I love the advice. This is like a line of thought I really never thought of, but that's excellent. So, but shameless plug here. What's the best way to do it, John?
Invest, buy the index. Is plain, is boring, but it makes money. So if you want to check it out, you know, the links are in the below. Created this so that busy people like a lot of you out there can actually just slowly follow the market and enjoy the ride.
Okay, excellent, concise, on the point. So the waiting list link is below, and if you put your email in when the program launches, we'll send you a special discount too. So that wraps up today's episode. Over to you. Do you use a new or used car? Which one would you prefer buying? And after listening to John's advice, right, which do you think is the best decision for you? Leave your answers in the comment below. Like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell for more updates from Wanghiro. Thanks again from me and John. See you again in our next episode. Bye-bye.